you won't let me feel what I feel.
Mm.
And I was just like blown away by this. Here's this 4-year-old kid, and he's got more emotional intelligence than I do. Like recognizing, like, I just need to feel this for a minute. Just, stop making me not feel it.
Yeah, and then if you want to joke about it later, you can.
Right.
Right? It's not like don't have a sense of humor or joke around, and if that's your way of handling things, okay. But he was just saying, like, give me a second to feel it. We'll joke around later.
Yeah. Welcome back to Raising Men. Today's guest is Eli Weinstein. He's a therapist, an author, and a relationship expert who helps men show up better as partners and fathers. He's the host of the Dude Therapist podcast and a founder of Elevation, where he brings empathy, humor, and real talk to conversations about mental health and connection. His new book, From I Do to We Do, helps guide couples through the emotional transition into parenthood. Ellie, thank you so much for joining us on Raising Men.
Thanks for having me. I'm so happy that this podcast exists because I don't think a lot of men have ever been raised the right way and taught the things that they need to be taught. And you opening these conversations and having these things is so iconic, especially in today's world. So I'm super
Thank you for that.
super
I'll
excited
tell
to be
you,
here.
I haven't been taught what I need to be taught. And the whole purpose of this podcast is really partially my journey to go figure out what excellence means in this category. I recognize that the world that my son is going to graduate into is so fundamentally different from the world that I grew up into, that it's just my reflexes are not tuned to what he needs in order to be able to thrive.
I love that. I love like the funny selfishness of, but also like, hey, I need to learn and let's go. And let's make something happen about it.
That's exactly right. I might as well do it in public.
Yeah.
Well, tell me, so your book is perfectly suited to this conversation, I think. Tell me about what inspired you to write From I Do to We Do, and what gap are you hoping to fill for new parents or people in relationships?
Yeah. What inspired me is a publishing company asked me to write one.
Okay.
I hate writing. And it's just funny saying that now that I'm an author, how afraid I was. And depending on the day, still am writing. I'd rather have a TV show, a podcast, speak in front of thousands and millions of people on a stage than write a tweet, thread, Instagram, blog post, or whatever. So it was more of a publishing company.
I'm telling you, I'm the exact same way.
Oh, I hate it. You know why? Because with speaking, to me, it's off the cuff. Even though I prepare, my brain works quickly with my ADHD that I can come up with stories, I can connect things, and I'm in that flow state. With writing, my grammar sucks. My ideas are great. How it connects and flow and does it speak to the reader, it's very static. There's no tone. There's no energy. You want it to be professional, but you want it to be like there's so many other things with speaking. My tone, my energy, you can feel it.
Yeah,
so,
there's a feedback loop
exactly
that happens that you get from the audience, or even just if you're just speaking one-on-one, there's a feedback loop that you get, and you feed off of this other person's energy,
with writing,
and they feed off of yours.
It's there,
and that doesn't happen on the written
no
page.
feedback except this book sucks or wow, that really helped me.
Yeah.
But it was really like a conversation with the publishers who I guess they found me through my podcast and this, that, and the other thing. And I noticed that there are not a lot of crossover books of parenting and relationship at all. There's one book, I think, in the 80s called Crib Sheets that really combines the two. And to me, it's secretly, this book is 80% a relationship book for anyone and everyone.
Yeah.
20% through the lens of being a parent. That is what it is. And it's the basic foundational things that I do every day with couples and individuals focused on relationships. I throw individual stories of my marriage, stories of the craziness of having 2 little kids.
Yeah.
And also the therapeutic stories of my practice. And to me, it's just this combo of things hit the fan so fast when you have kids.
Yeah.
And for the most part, your relationship falls to the wayside because you're in survival mode of
So true.
raising a human being that cannot do it themselves.
Right.
And we don't really focus on the relationship and keep that thriving when it is possible, but we're just so damn tired and we're just so overwhelmed and we're at each other's throats and all these different things that are coming together at one point. And this is the book for anyone in that stage where there's like quiet or even very loud noises in our head going, who the hell am I sitting next to? Or how did we get here? Or what? Relationship? Who the hell has time for that?
Yeah.
This is the book for you. And again, secretly, it's an 80% relationship book for anyone and everyone. But I was asked to make it a little more specific and niched, or niched, as I say.
Yeah.
And hopefully everyone enjoys.
I'll tell you, I wish I had this book.
That's what everyone tells
some
me.
years ago when my boy was born, because my wife and I, it was, I don't know how else to describe it. It was agony.
Yeah.
We were at each other's throats constantly. We just were not a team.
Yeah.
And what we ended up having to do is literally, we sat down and I said, okay, you and I have to come to an arrangement. And the arrangement is, no matter what, we'll not get divorced before the boy is at least 1 year old. Like, we know our lives are so different now from what they were 2 months ago. And
Literally.
a year from now, they will be so different again.
Yeah.
And we just can't be making any sorts of, like, this feels unsustainable to me. And we can't pretend that we just can't draw that line over into infinity.
Yeah.
But, and it actually caused a problem, because when the boy was about to turn 1, my wife was sort of starting to get upset. She's like, oh, we're going to get divorced now. Like, no, that wasn't the deal. That's not what I meant.
I didn't say we are, but we're not going to unless by a certain point.
Yeah. And
no, I start the book that way, by the way. The book's introduction is literally one of the hardest fights my wife and I have ever had in our marriage. We've been together for 11 years. One of the hardest fights we've ever had was our anniversary during the first year of our daughter's life.
Yeah.
Where maybe other couples have done this. It's not that we don't fight. We get into fights all the time. I'm talking all out screaming. I'm talking sleeping in another room. We were in a hotel.
Yes.
Like, I've never argued that hard in a public, not that it was in the lobby, but the walls are pretty thin in a hotel room.
Yeah.
We were at each other's throats screaming. We lost it. And it was over something so stupid. I wrote that I don't remember because I didn't want to write it, but it was over like who to go to for the holidays that year. Like, it opened up this can of worms because we did not communicate. We were so overwhelmed and we did not know how to talk about it without stepping on each other's toes. I was going through panic attacks. I was going through anxiety that I never experienced before. It's actually a thing that most men don't talk about, or even isn't talked about, is the postpartum anxiety in men. It is very researched in women. It's not very researched in the father, but it is something very, very common. And over the last couple of years of the work that I've done in my private practice, I've had men who are in their 30s to high 40s who finally come to therapy and sit on their own, not pushed by their partner, who say, hey, Ellie, this isn't working. I wish I had you in my life earlier. I should have called you in my 20s. I should have dealt with this. I thought I could handle it and I can't. Or life has changed and I need to adjust and I don't know how. I need to pivot to new skills. I don't have them. The things I used to do worked, now aren't. And it's such an honor to be able to do that with people. But at the same time, I need it myself. And that the book was me kind of telling how I worked through it, because I was not okay. And I don't think any couple really is. And any couple who says, oh, we're fine after having a kid, when literally not even 2 months, 3 days before your world was different, is lying. It doesn't mean that everyone's getting divorced once they have kids, but it definitely pushes buttons that you never knew existed.
It's such a strain. It's such a strain.
Yeah.
Why do you suppose that men struggle with vulnerability and asking for help why does it take you until your 30s to finally go, man, I can't take this anymore? Why are we like that?
Such a loaded question. And it's so hard to answer, like, in a podcast. And I write in the chapter From Dudes to Dads, I did some research on it, and there was a new book that came out after I already submitted like all the information, and I can't really touch the book anymore. It's like it's done, it's out of my hands. Of
Right.
Boys to Men,
Oh, wow.
not the band, not the a cappella group, Boys to Men. I forgot who wrote it, the author. I have it upstairs in my bedroom. It's on my to read next.
Yeah.
Um, of the social research and the science behind how men have been raised over the generations. The what I and my research and the work that I've been doing with a lot of people, is the envision Sparta, right? The movie Sparta, where the
Yeah.
guy yells like, "This is Sparta," and like
Yeah.
kicks the guy into the well, right?
Yes.
Every single culture has had tests,
Right.
whether it's certain cultures that have the bees on the hands, or a bar mitzvah, or a baptism, whatever religious or even cultural, of
Sure.
going out into the wilds back in the day, or kind of coming of age story of being tested.
Yeah.
We don't have that so often
Right.
nowadays. And we don't know what it's like to really be tested or pushed to be challenged to what it means to us to be a man, what it means to be masculine, what it means that we accept what that means, not what society defines, not what's toxic. I hate that toxic masculinity concept. It's so ridiculously and stupid, because
Yeah.
just because someone has intensity doesn't mean they're toxic.
Right.
There's quiet toxicity that happens most of the time, but that might be a whole nother podcast, in which I'm more than
Yeah,
happy to
no,
talk about. But
on that
but
note, I don't
it's
think there's
so
such a
hard.
thing as toxic masculinity either. It's
I think they're just really bad men.
there's shitty behavior, and
Yeah,
then
they're
there's
just really bad
masculinity,
men.
and those two things can't be more opposite than each other.
But once they started phrasing it as toxic masculinity, what it did is it attached masculinity to toxic.
That's right.
And that's the problem, because there are masculine women who are not
Yeah.
toxic, and there are feminine men that are not less masculine.
That's right.
And so this idea of this pressure of vulnerability is this safety issue of, if
Yeah.
I'm going to open up and be my truest self, how will you accept me? Because I've been
Right.
told by society or culturally over generations that I have to be the warrior, the protector, the strong one, the loud one. If there is danger in the house, who's going downstairs with the baseball bat or gun? It's the
Yeah.
man, right?
Yeah.
And you do you in your relationship if that's how you want to do it. But the point is that there is this intensity of the strength and power, and it has been taught that vulnerability or openness or emotions, except for anger or happiness, is accepted.
Mhm.
And it is something that is very pervasive and a very hard thing to relearn when you have been taught. Now, depending on when you grew up, whoever's listening, if you grew up in the 80s and 90s, if you were off, or you were not accepted, or you were not masculine, you were automatically called gay, or something's a problem with you. Being gay is not a problem with you. It's just like, but that was a slur. Like,
Right.
oh, you're so gay. Why? You don't fit the box that we as a society, or we as the cool group of men, have decided.
Yeah.
But in reality, there's a spectrum of who you are as a man. And some days you show up one way, another way you show up different way. And the beautiful thing of nowadays, and I know I'm going on a rant here, but a beautiful day nowadays is that you see such of these strong athletes who are the epitome of power. A football player running 20 miles an hour, ramming into another human being. A UFC fighter, right? Saying, hey, I'm going to show a picture of me as a dad and be smiley and laughy and jokey and silly. I'm going to be vulnerable and say, hey, I'm having a hard day. I need to take a day off. Like, that is happening as well today.
Yeah.
And those things are proving and showing men around the world, be yourself. What is today, what is tomorrow are totally different. Even within the same day, you have different roles and different opportunities to be your truest self. And it's relearning that as a society. And it's happening, just slowly.
There's something that's really beautiful about bringing your struggle out into the real world.
Yeah.
And there's something that's really empowering about that too. And I mean, it's like, one of the metaphors that I like to use is, who's the stronger boxer? The guy who has an impenetrable shield, or the guy whom doesn't need a shield at all, and you can just wail on his face and it doesn't affect him?
Rocky.
Because, which one of
That
these
was
guys
literally
is the stronger
Rocky,
boxer?
right?
Right.
Rocky was the guy who took all the shots,
Right.
and took the beating until the other person got tired, right? That's
Yeah.
all 50 of those movies,
Yeah.
right? Was him getting beaten to a pulp. And then the last ability he had was the strength. The power was, I can take all these hits and I can show that I can bleed, but guess what? You're going to tire out because when you get tired, I'm jumping on that opportunity. And
That's
then you
so
have the other
true.
boxers who are like, the fast step, or the pure power, but had their, and of course, it's just a movie and based on someone maybe.
Right.
But yeah, and it's such a beautiful experience to be able to be yourself.
Yeah.
It's because I work with so many men who are trying so hard to be something else
Yeah.
that pressure is what breaks them. Not the vulnerability. If they actually just let go and were themselves, they wouldn't feel so tight. They wouldn't feel so angsty. They wouldn't feel so angry. They wouldn't feel so obsessed with that I need to be for other people. If you were just yourself, there would be this breath or space to just live your life.
Yeah.
But what we're doing is they're putting on a show and protecting and being so, oh my gosh, who am I now? Who am I now? And it's so in their head that they burn themselves out and then they crash.
Yeah. It's, it's like we've been told all our lives, maybe even for generations, to man up, right? But manning up, like
Yeah.
what that envisions or what that elicits in your mind is closing up.
Yeah.
And putting your guard up and struggle through it and shoulder the grindstone. But the real manning up, the real masculine move there is really to open up.
And there's nothing wrong with being tough.
Yeah.
And there's no problem with seeing a problem and looking at it and not freaking out and standing there and going, here's how I'm gonna deal with it.
Right.
But it's also okay to also get freaked out and then think it through and figure it out.
Yeah.
Like that's okay too.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you're cowering in the corner as people envision. The joke I always make with like the vision of what people think like having emotions are is a very famous scene in Friends with Bruce Willis and Jennifer Aniston, and they're dating, and Jennifer Aniston asks Courtney Cox's character Monica, like, hey, I want to open up my, Paul, I think his name is. I don't know how, whatever. And she gives her some secret. And the next scene is literally Bruce Willis on Jennifer Aniston's lap, just bawling like a baby.
Bawling his eyes out.
And she can't handle it. She's like, I didn't ask for this. And everyone thinks that is what the envision is, that once we start opening up and being vulnerable, that we just won't be able to control it.
I think that's the fear. Right?
Yeah,
that our strength is in being able to hold all that stuff in. And if
the
we
fear is
let
the
it
other
go,
person going, I don't like that.
Yeah.
No. Put that back. No. That's ugly. Don't do that again.
Yeah. How do you suppose we keep that virus from infecting our sons?
I think by two things, maybe three, depending on where my ADHD brain goes today. The first one is you doing it yourself, right? Kids learn by watching, not by being told. They really just soak in like a sponge everything that's happening around them. So how you love your partner, how you show emotions, hugs, kisses, tushy squeezes, whatever your love language is, however you want to show it.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing for them to see, that you have emotions. Number two, are you going to show the emotions to them? Are you going to hide it? Like if you're crying, or not that you should be like, look, I'm crying.
Right. Yeah.
But if you're crying and your kid goes, hey, Dad, are you okay? And you're honest with them saying, yeah, something just made me sad, or I'm really frustrated or overwhelmed. You're not putting that burden on the kid and saying, I need you to fix it. That's unhealthy.
Right.
But being honest about it is teaching them that, look, Dad has emotions and I saw them. And then the other thing is how you talk to them about their emotions. So if they have an emotion, it's not saying, hey, stop crying, grow up. My son is 3.5.
Yeah.
Him crying about something that bothers him is, hey, bud, what's going on? Why are you so upset? Talk to me.
Yeah.
It's not stop crying. It's, I want to understand why you're crying because that's okay.
Yeah.
Or you're hurt. Now, there is a thing with parents, a parenting about when a kid falls, saying, are you okay or not? Right? The answer is, you're going to be okay. I'm sorry you're in pain.
Right.
But you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
It's not get up, wipe off, your body and keep moving, grow up.
Yeah.
So the words and how we express it, how we talk to them teaches them the value of their emotions and feelings, and helping you understand it and them understand it is part of that equation. And hopefully that clicks. And in the end, it's not up to us. They're going to do what they want to do with it, you know?
Yeah. I had an experience like that with my boy it was about maybe a year or two ago. And in my family, we always use humor as a shield,
Yeah.
right? And I remember, the worst thing that ever happened to me was my mom dying of
Mm,
cancer when I was 21 years old. And I remember making a joke 5 minutes after it happened.
mhm,
And so like 2 years ago, my son was having a really hard time with something, and he was very upset. And I started goofing around with him and started making jokes and stuff to try and get him to laugh.
yeah.
And it was my way of like I couldn't handle him being upset. And so I was trying to make him laugh to get him out of it. And that's because that's what I do, right? And
Yeah.
that's what I want to do. And that's what I want other people to do for me. And he says to me, he starts laughing, and I said, and he says, "Dad, stop. You won't let me feel what I feel."
Mm,
And I was just like blown away by this. Here's this 4-year-old kid, and he's got more emotional intelligence than I do. Like recognizing, like, I just need to feel this for a minute. Just, stop making me not feel it.
yeah. And then if you want to joke about it later, you can.
Right.
Right? It's not like don't have a sense of humor or joke around. And if that's your way of handling things, okay. But he
Yeah.
was just saying, like, give me a second to feel it. We'll joke around later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I like that. I like the idea of being able to connect back, and there is a strength in being able to joke about your foibles and joke about the awful stuff that has happened to you.
Yeah.
There's some of that too, but but avoidance isn't a good strategy,
Yeah. Not a good
and
strategy.
certainly, like, training him to avoid feeling sad is not right. It's not good.
Yeah. That's why, like, a lot of people when they're raising their kids, a lot of parents, myself included, are all about distraction.
Yeah,
Right? If a kid gets hurt, you go, like you make a funny face, or you do a silly thing, or when a kid's upset or a baby, you try to distract them.
right.
But like that's for us
Yeah.
because we want
Yeah,
them
that's
to
so I
stop.
don't have to feel bad that you feel bad.
Yeah. Or like I don't want to listen to you crying.
Right.
So
Right.
like stop it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great
Yeah.
story.
And so that's one of my little demons that I have to work through is but he's a pretty smart kid. He can he can teach me.
Yeah, clearly. That's a
Yeah.
I remember once my daughter, she was learning about like emotions in school or something. She was in daycare.
Yeah.
And she came home and she like patted the couch next to her and she goes, "Daddy, come let's talk about our emotions." I was like, "Aren't I'm the therapist. Like, what are you doing? You're a kid." Like, "Daddy, I want to talk about my emotions." I went, "Okay, awesome." I was
I
like,
love that. Yeah, I would yeah, by all means, let's do it.
"Yeah, let's do it."
Yeah. Man, that's great. What else can we do to create a home environment where we welcome emotions and we don't shut them down and all of that stuff? How can we as fathers try and create that environment for
Yeah,
our
and I think
family?
I think it's having a game plan
Mm,
with, your the home, right? And the partner. I do this thing with a lot of couples, and I was taught this by a mentor of mine. His name is Josh Goller, and it was the idea of like something called an import export list. And what it is sitting down with, you can do it with a friend if you want, if that's the relationship, do it with your wife, your husband, whoever it is, and you sit down and go, okay, for this home, for this unit, what are the imports and exports that we want to keep as like guidelines, home rules, whatever it is.
yeah.
Some people, the export is no slamming doors in the house. That is an
Yeah.
export, right? That pushes me in ways I don't like. An import is we want our house to be open. Friends want to come over, people knock on the door that are our friends or family, welcome. Like, we're not gonna be like, what are you doing here? What time is it? Like, get out of the house.
Yeah.
Of course, boundaries and respect. But that is part of that conversation, is how do we want to raise our kids? Don't do it before you have kids, because you have no idea what the hell that means. It's all theory. And that's
Yeah.
nice. Do it. Okay. There
Yeah,
are
I think it's
theoretical
good to go
things
through
like
the
don't hit your
exercise,
children and don't
and then you
like,
get to laugh at yourself a year
yeah,
later about
of what you
"Man, we
wrote.
thought we were going to do this.
Exactly. You're like, what? We were going to not use TV? That is insane. It's okay to watch TV. Your kids are not going to be ruined. Just do other things also.
Yeah.
But like the import export but it also opens a conversation between the two people, where like what the culture they grew up in. There may be religious things that they grew up in, maybe the perspectives that they were taught about emotions, feelings, how to think and go through the world. So it is a beautiful thing to go, oh, here's how we deal with holidays, or, stress before guests come, or the environment and culture that you grew up in sometimes becomes the norm. And another person goes, that's not healthy. No one does that except for you guys. I'll give an example. When growing up, travel was very stressful. My mom would get very intense about packing. We would start packing like a week before. When I got married and I was with my wife and like, okay, we're going to go on a trip, I started getting all tense and angsty. And she's like, we're like, I'm like 2 weeks out. What are you getting angsty about? Like, I don't have a problem flying. I don't have a
Yeah.
problem, going places. I love going and enjoying the world and traveling if I can.
Yeah.
My wife's like, what's wrong? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I've never thought about, like, what do you mean? Like, she's like, are you worried about packing? I'm like, yeah. I overpack because I try to counteract like not having enough. Like, I'm like, oh
Right.
my gosh, it could rain. And she started making packing lists, and it took all the anxiety away. Because I was
Wow.
like, oh, I have a clear thing. She's like, yeah, it helps me be organized, and then we have it together. But it's because of the environment of my childhood of packing equals intensity.
Yeah.
So we had a conversation about it. So these things will come up. So tip, use pencil on the paper. Don't use a pen. So you can, what's pencil? No one uses pencil anymore. But
Maybe
the idea,
use a digital medium,
right? Use a digital
you
or
can
Google
delete
Doc,
it.
right? Or Apple Note, is just
Right.
have these conversations. And when situations come up that you don't agree with or rub you the wrong way,
Yeah.
have a meeting with
Right.
each other. Go, hey, not in the moment. Don't call each
Yeah.
other out in the moment.
Yeah, that's
but
a good way
afterwards,
to
hey,
not have the fight too, right?
yeah,
You just remember,
hey,
oh,
what
okay,
happened there?
let's save
Why
that
is
for the
that?
Sunday meeting.
Like, yeah, why is that something that you think is you would do? Oh, well, that's what my dad didn't like that when I did that in the house and just came out.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I don't really like that. I don't like seeing that in you. That's not how we want to raise our kids. Oh, I didn't think of it that way. Or no, I like this because let's figure out if that's something that fits for both of us.
Right. Or come up with a way to make it fit for both of us.
Yeah,
Like, there's some
exactly.
principle here that we can probably agree on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I feel like that's a really good way, a really good practical way to give the kids agency in their lives too, is incorporating them into that discussion and have it be a family meeting. All right, as a family, we're deciding to focus on these things, and it's not imposed
or
from
what
the top
worked this
down.
week, what didn't work this week.
Yeah.
Like, of course, we got to take it with how old they are and how,
Right.
But if a kid's like 8 to 10 years old, they have very clear thoughts of what they like and don't like. They're not like a 3-year-old kid who just likes, my son likes dinosaurs and cars. Like, that's all he likes.
Yeah.
Right. Or candy. Exactly. But like, that also means, what are you going to do on the weekends?
Yeah.
You can ask them. It's not, well, daddy wants to go watch football for 80 hours and we can't talk to him. If that's how you do it, do you, no judgment. But have a conversation, bring them in. If there's a buy-in to the home,
Yeah.
and it's a buy-in out of respect, not you're doing chores and free labor, but a respect for the home, for how we do things, the enjoyment, the love, the happiness. It's not all perfect and unicorns and daisies, of course, but they're bought in and it's exciting. They're like, oh, I matter. It's not just mommy and daddy. Yes, mommy and daddy are making the rules, and mommy and daddy keep the chaos and control, but I have agency within that framework. I'm not just going along to get along because mommy and daddy make all the decisions. And
Yeah.
again, the kids are not making decisions. They're children. But
Right.
it's
Yeah.
they can
They have
partake
input.
in giving ideas to the board,
Yeah.
right? Like the thought board's like, oh, that's a good idea. Great job. You thought that's a wonderful idea. Then they're like, oh, me? Thank you.
Yeah.
Right? That's wonderful.
Yeah. So much of, I mean, when I watch my son, I can see the tension in him. There's so much of his life is this tension between wanting to be independent and wanting to be connected.
Yeah.
And I mean, sometimes, it'll happen where he's screaming, "I just want love!" like, I mean, you are at the same time pushing me away and then complaining that I'm not next to you, and I feel like times when you can get that, it's actually pretty easy for us, at least in our family, to create that connection. We're very physical. My boy and I wrestle all the time. It's that's not a problem for us. But the independence bit, that is a place where it can be a little bit harder, especially since some of the stuff. Oh, I just want to watch YouTube for 6 straight hours, and I really don't want him on YouTube,
Yeah.
and so it's places where you sort of get the independence for free. I always perk up when I see opportunities like that.
Yeah, I love that. And then things change, like a lot of parents think when they first become parents that they have to like be on top of their kids playing with them all the time.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with like play with your kids, like enjoy time with them.
Yeah.
But my point is like it's okay if they're in the other room
Yeah.
playing by themselves and
Yeah.
enjoying life. I don't need to be in the same room for them to be happy.
Right.
They can be like, we have a playroom in our house. There are days where I'm like, where's my son? And I look in and he's just sitting there playing and talking to himself and having a good time. He's being a beautiful child. I don't need
Yeah.
to then go in there and play with him
Right.
and then get frustrated that I'm not playing the way he wants me to.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, embrace that. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's
I
so
totally
beautiful
agree.
to watch, actually.
I want to drill down a little bit more
Yeah,
on
let's go.
this dude to dad transition. What is I felt this absolutely. I mean, that was an absolute cusp for me. And especially since for me, I kind of had kids later in life. And so I had a whole life and it was established before my boy came along. And then my life was totally different, literally 30 minutes after we walked in the hospital, pretty much.
Yeah.
And so let's talk to me a little bit more about what that transition and what's the difficulty and what's important about and how should we think about that?
Yeah, I think the difficulty for a lot of men is the idea that they're going to lose their autonomy and their individuality. They're going to be like, something's going to be a problem. That all of a
No
sudden
question.
now they're not going to be able to be themselves. They're not going to be able to have fun. They're not going to be, go out with the boys.
Yeah.
Right. And I remember I had a client a couple of years ago. Like, it was one of the reasons why I realized this book is so important because of this client. And he said, like, Ellie, I'm going to lose all the things that I love to do. It's going to go away. I can't do it anymore. And I said this line, and yes, it's deeper than that. And there's like a classic therapy line, but I was like, you're not losing yourself. You're adding a layer. Like, it's not deleting the fact that you want to go snowboarding on the weekends. It's not taking away the fact that you want to go to the gym or read a book or go play sports or hang out with your friends or have time with your wife.
Yeah.
It's an added layer that now the priorities are shifting. And that's extremely uncomfortable for everyone. So it's okay. So maybe I can't go 7 times a year to go skiing or snowboarding. I go twice.
Yeah.
And those 2 times are going to be awesome and iconic because I'm doing it. At least I'm doing it. It might be that it transitions to now you do it with your kids and you're teaching them. You still get to go. It's just now shifting, again, a different layer on top of it. It's you with your kids.
Yeah.
And there's this concept in relationship we're called interdependence, which is you, your partner, and the connection of the two.
Yeah.
You're not losing the individuality just because you get married.
Right. 1
You have
plus
to
1 equals
find
3.
ways to prioritize it. and to make it a reality. And that's a conversation of, hey, Tuesday nights, I still want to have poker night with the boys. Yep. Great. I'm going to go watch Bachelorette upstairs.
Right.
You both are doing your own things. And at the end of the night, who are you ending up with? Your partner. Mm-hmm. It's not like you're just like leaving and being gone. It doesn't mean you can't go hang out with your family. It doesn't mean you can't do things that you value. It's how you then mix it into the priority shifting. It's still top 10. It's just not top 1 anymore. You are not top number 1, which is extremely uncomfortable for people to admit that's the strain. It's like, oh, wait, it's not just me. It's not just my wife. Now there's a little child that is a blob that I have to worry about and focus on. But what about me? And that you feel pushed out. Your priorities and values feel pushed out. So it's just like, okay, they're still top 10. They're still top 5. I just have to figure out the rotation better. I have to adjust and pivot the rotation smarter now so that I still get my needs met, but I'm not deleting me, and the other things matter too. And that's the uncomfortable shift that happens.
Yeah. But the benefit you get for that cost is that you now get to experience the world anew through and all the stuff that you're passionate about and all the stuff that you love. If you love to go snowboarding 7 times a year, and then you start bringing your son or daughter, you get to now experience that hobby through their eyes, completely fresh. It's like starting over from scratch again and falling in love with the activity all over again.
I literally recently just had this experience. I love hockey. I didn't say I can play hockey. I love watching hockey. And I watch when the hockey season's on, hockey's on the TV. And for me, my son and daughter going, let's go Islanders, seeing the TV. Guess what? The Islanders are not on TV at that time, but they see hockey and they associate it to daddy's favorite team and cheering and that energy. And it brings me so much joy. And my son literally said to me, he goes, Daddy, can I sit and watch hockey with you?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, come on my lap. Let's snuggle. And he's asking these questions.
Right.
And he wants to go to a game with me. And that's exciting. That's fun. I'm not losing loving hockey.
Right.
I love reading books. My daughter loves reading. So now I'm reading to her. Now I'm not reading the books that I'm reading because they're huge chapter books and they're not appropriate.
Right.
But like you can share joys and happiness with your kids. And if they don't like the same things that you do, you can still like your things. But now you get to see the happiness and joy of the things that they love and they like, and that's what makes you happy.
Yeah, and you can actually start to enjoy the things that they like. You will start to enjoy them anyway.
Yeah, because they are happy.
It too. My son, he's only 6, and he's decided that he wants to play golf. Which,
I love that.
Yeah, I do too. But I am a terrible, terrible, terrible golfer.
We all are.
In fact, I find that golf is just like an exercise in frustration. It is purely, in fact, I remember watching Tiger Woods have a bad round one time, and it was in person. And after he got down, he stomped off the 18th hole, the green on the 18th hole, and went over the driving range, and he was just like hitting the pitching wedge over and over and over again. And he was so frustrated, and he was talking to his caddy and all that stuff. He was clearly just absolutely totally pissed off about how poorly he was playing. And every single one of these balls was landing. He was hitting his pitching wedge, and they were landing about 120 yards away within 3 feet of the pin. And he was mad because it wasn't 2 feet. And I was like, I know exactly how he feels. Except for me, it's,
I can't even hit the ball.
I can't even hit the ball. And this guy's mad. I mean, it's just never changes. You are never, ever not frustrated when you play golf, except for that one hit every day. Every time you go out, you get that one hit and it's absolutely perfect. And you feel like if I just practiced 8 hours a day, I'd be able to do that every time.
Yeah.
And it's a lie.
Yeah, I get frustrated with golf also because I'm like, I know I can hit a baseball that's moving.
Yeah.
I can hit a pickleball. I can do all these things that are moving targets.
Right.
But a ball sitting static, I cannot freaking hit the damn thing.
To save my life.
I can't even hit it. And if I do hit it, I don't hit it well.
Yes.
What the hell? And it's so frustrating.
Worst.
So frustrating.
It is the worst. Well, my son is getting into it. And now I'm starting to get into it. Yesterday, we went to the golf store and we got him some clubs, and he's
I
all
love
excited
that.
about going. And I'm starting to get fitted for clubs, and I'm starting to get passionate about this game that I hate.
I love it.
Yeah. It's
But
really
now,
interesting.
but now
So
you hate it
that's the
together.
transition right there.
But now you hate it together.
Yeah. Yeah. Now we can just be frustrated together.
Yeah.
So tell me, how can listeners connect with you and dive deeper into your work, or your book, from I Do to We Do?
Yeah. So the book is on pre-order right now. Anywhere you buy books, it is available to buy. You can find it all on my website, ellieweinsteinlcsw.com. There's a tab for the books, all the pre-orders. There is if you pre-order it and email me, you get a kit of like a parenting kit that I send you
Awesome.
of some like basic things and worksheets to do with you and your partner. So go there. You can
Yeah.
follow along on Instagram, EllieWeinstein_LCSW, and you can check out the Dude Therapist podcast as well, and all the different things that I'm doing. And if you want me to come out to your area, speak to anyone, that's on the website as well.
Awesome. Well, all of those links are in the show notes. And so definitely take a look, pre-order the book, and definitely email Ellie. He will, yeah, I love the kit. That's definitely a nice sweetener there.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Now that's before the last thing I like to do when I
I'm
close
ready.
these conversations, I like to ask everybody the same question. So I'll put you on the spot. Feel free to take as much time as you want. But what is one principle that you would like every parent or future parent listening to take away?
So I have a motto that I live my life by, that my grandfather taught me, my mom taught me. It's something that is very integral to like who I am as a person, is that if you never try,
Hmm.
the answer is always no.
Yeah.
So read books, listen to podcasts, ask friends, advice. If you never try, the answer will always be no. So that means send that email, sit down with your kids, talk to them. If you just sit in that state of, no, I'm not going to do that, or it's not worth it, or it won't work, or it will never happen.
Yeah.
Of course it won't.
Right.
But if you try something, it could be a yes.
Yeah.
You might still get the no.
Yeah.
But it also could be a yes. So
Yeah.
just keep trying. Because
Yeah, I find, I mean, certainly
works.
within my own life, I have so much suffering relating to stuff I'm convincing myself not to do, and suffering about what could happen if I do the thing I want to do.
Yeah.
It's insane, the amount of suffering I have associated with that.
Most people.
And there's no, there's no sense in it. I mean, it holds you back.
Yeah. Again, doesn't mean the answer will be yes.
Yeah.
But then you can tell yourself that you did your part.
Right. And you know what?
And you can live with that.
If I think back on my life, I can't think of a single occasion where I did the thing and regretted it. And I can think of lots and lots of occasions where I chickened out.
Yeah.
And I still regret it to this day.
Yep. I'm with you on that one.
Come to mind right now.
Just
as we're talking, having this conversation, 5 of those things come to mind.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Same.
Well, Ellie, thank you so much for being here, man. I love how you're helping dads redefine strength and lead with presence. Especially that chapter, Dues to Dads, is such an important guide for men stepping into fatherhood. The book, I'm so excited for it. I'm really grateful for the work that you're doing to help us all show up better for our families. Really appreciate you coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you all for listening. I'm Sean Dawson, and this is Raising Men. You are a great parent. Raising Men is produced by Phil Hernandez. This episode was edited by Ralph Tolentino.